Welcome everyone back to another episode of PTI Podcast. As usual, I've got the lovely Mary. Mary, how are you?
I'm good. How are you going?
I'm good. I'm getting that intro down better as we go along.
We're talking for
Um,
about needing a jingle, so I might have to find
oh
that.
no. Yeah, you've tasked me with that jingle.
I have.
I have to get it. But we've also got the amazing Taylor with us. Hey Taylor.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. So we were talking about this before we started. This is technically the first time we're meeting and we're getting to know each other whilst doing this. So this is cool. This is a first for us and I really like it.
Yes, I've heard lots about you, so yes, it's good to finally meet you.
Oh, thank you. So and likewise, I know I've heard about you through one of my staff members, Belle, who has worked a lot with you in the Hawkesbury, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, correct.
Perfect. So, look, I'd love to get to know a little bit more about you. We're going to do this live, and everyone can test how good I am at making friends. We'll see how that goes. But can you maybe tell us about you? Like, what brought you into this space? And obviously now doing some things. We Ability Connect and Elara Allied Health do things together in the Hawkesbury as well. So, how did that come about?
So I am a speech pathologist by trade and started Elara Allied Health 4 years ago. We opened a clinic in Richmond this year, in April, and I started the business because I noticed a gap in the area between Blacktown and the Hawkesbury, and yeah, I just wanted to help as many people as possible.
So can I ask why speech therapy? What got you into speech therapy?
So I knew I wanted to help children, really passionate about children, and my brother received speech therapy when he was young, so I was exposed to that, and I enjoyed science. So I thought helping children and science, let's put that together, and I started at ACU studying speech therapy.
Oh, nice. And
Yeah.
so you've been running your organization or your business for 4 years now. Is that right?
Yeah, 4 years.
Oh, amazing. And how's that journey been through the NDIS?
It's been pretty good, to be honest. When I started, NDIS was going really strong, and yeah, for services. So filled up really quickly and just sort of went from there. I started by myself for a year, and then I hired an occupational therapist and knew I wanted to do speech and OT as they work hand in hand. And then, yeah, we're growing the team. There will be 6 of us as of August.
Can I ask you a random question? Because I don't actually know the answer to this, but what does the day-to-day look like for a speechy? Like I don't actually, because I sit on this fence of, oh hey, can you go and help this person, but I have no idea what it actually looks like for you.
Yeah. So people just think we do speech, sounds, articulation, but we also do language, receptive and expressive, so how people understand language and how people use language. We also can do swallowing, voice. What else can we? Because we can do so much, literacy, and yeah, I think that's important for people to know, and especially support coordinators, families, when they notice that gap and what professional could fill that. And yeah, we can do quite a bit, which
And you
is
said
fun.
you guys are mobile, right? Is that correct?
Yeah,
So
we are mobile.
do you have a
Yeah.
clinic as well?
Yep. So we have a clinic in Richmond, and we are mobile. So we go to schools, preschools, and daycares. Sometimes we'll go to the park. It just depends.
And out of curiosity, because I know there's been a lot of changes with the transport funding and so on, have you seen that impact the amount of people coming into clinic versus mobile at all?
Definitely. Yeah. So our hourly rate charged for travel dropped 50%. So instead of the $193.99, it dropped down to 97. And we still do it, but overall it's not that sustainable anymore. So we have noticed quite a few participants coming to the clinic, which is why opening it this year was really handy.
Have you noticed a difference in I guess the day-to-day of like your work or the clinical outcomes since like the drop in like travel happened?
I guess now that I'm in the clinic more, I can spend more time with the team, which is nice. And we have more of that team environment instead of being in our own cars and phone calling and things like that. But I still find being mobile is really successful. You're in the children's natural space, so they don't have to generalize those skills from the clinic to daycare or to school. It's already there, which is really nice. So I definitely see pros and cons to both. I have seen a shift in more clinic, but we need to adapt.
Yeah, absolutely.
And remain positive. So that is the key.
And is it mostly NDIS work that you do?
Yes.
Okay. So how do you find well, I suppose the fact that like, our prices are set externally by someone else that, doesn't consider like all of the, the overhead that you have to go through. Like how do you guys manage that?
We do our best. Look, I got into this because I wanted to help families and children, and I want children to thrive. So it's billed at an hourly rate, but what we do in the background is so much more. We often might be a accidental counselor to a family. We might be a support coordinator. We might just be that shoulder for someone to lean on. And I think as a team, we are also passionate about helping those families. So we don't see it as we're not getting paid for it, or we're, doing too much, but it can be taxing at times.
Yeah.
Is your because I mean, are you seeing the families feel the pressure of everything that's happened as well? Like, is there families that are coming to you worried and concerned about all of the different, bits and pieces that are going on?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's so uncertain right now, and especially in the pediatric space, we just don't know what is happening. And I think everyone doesn't know what is happening. We have Thriving Kids starting in October, and I still don't know exactly what that is looking like. We know that they want to do these general supports, which may look like parenting programs, or in the early childhood space, or I even heard maybe libraries maybe offering help. But we know early intervention is so important. So if we can try and help as many people as possible, I believe, get onto the scheme if they genuinely need it, that will help overall.
Because I mean, I'm not a psychologist or anything like that, but I remember one part of my degree when I was doing it, and it was a small psychology portion of the subject, and they were talking about a brain development and the ages between 0 and 4 and how important that is, if I'm not mistaken, in terms of is it how malleable the connections that can be formed? Is it something to do with it? Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. So that's why we have seen so many children around like the age of 2 get onto the scheme, and we're discharging them. And it's incredible. And look, it depends case by case.
So you're seeing people, sorry, because you're seeing people come onto the scheme early and then leave, and then getting off the scheme by 2.
No, not by 2. When they get on the scheme at 2. Yeah.
And so when are they being discharged?
Look, it depends case by case, and it depends on their needs. We sometimes will have families maybe when they're 6 or 7, and we're like, we can discharge you now. And they're like, but we still have funding. And it's like, no, like, this is great. And we don't get to do it so often, but when we do, it's definitely a win. And we can see when we start earlier that we are discharging earlier, which is great. And I definitely think children are able to thrive when they see therapists early and receive that early intervention.
And with Thriving Kids, because I know there's a lot of ambiguity and nobody really knows what's going on. I'm just like, and it seems like your entire clientele is going to fall within Thriving Kids. So I'm just really curious, like, what kind of conversations are you having with parents about, like, I'm sure there's a lot of like anxiety around it, and what conversations are you having with your staff about that? Because I would imagine it's very hard to plan if you know, there's nothing to plan to if we don't know what it looks like.
Yeah, a majority of our clients are NDIS. We are trying to see other funding streams, you know, whether it be Medicare, whether it be through a charity. We do a lot of work with DCJ and vulnerable families. Keys is another one. But it is hard having a business, having staff, having most of our clientele, coming under that Thriving Kids umbrella. I believe, and I talk to different therapists all the time, and no one knows exactly what Thriving Kids is going to look like, but I believe we're being told that if you are on NDIS, you should be able to stay on NDIS, but they are doing so many reassessments and requiring so much documentation and evidence. So that's also adding to the workload and uncertainty. Other funding avenues and streams are sort of what we're looking at, and just trying to provide families with support.
And is there like what are the other alternatives? Like, is there Medicare or?
Yeah, so they have updated the Medicare scheme where it's M10 now, and they can receive 8 assessment sessions and then 20 therapy sessions. And I believe that covers $89.50. So they'll receive that as a rebate. So it doesn't cover 100%. And that's in their lifetime.
So it's not like a calendar. Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's not enough at all. It's more than what some people were getting, but yeah.
What is the, like, I know that every case is different, but like I guess I'm trying to figure out, like, what does the shortfall look like here? Like, so like if you have a kid coming on at 2, how many sessions do they usually take, and how, you know, on average, how long would they stay on? Like, how many sessions would be ideal really that they would need over that? Yeah, it's hard to say.
I can't say.
Yeah.
I really can't say. We see a range of clients. We see some private clients with an incidental lisp, and we might be able to discharge them after 6 weeks. But then we might see someone with a level 3 ASD diagnosis, a moderate intellectual diagnosis. They could be with us. I've seen clients where I've picked them up when I started the business 4 years ago, and I'm still seeing them, and I don't really see us discharging them from speech and OT, and we will be referring on once we're unable to help them achieve their goals.
Yeah. Do you know if there's any, like, so other than Medicare, are there any other alternatives? Like private health or?
Yeah, we can see private health, but you need to have that in your plan, in your, which isn't cheap either. If you've got, you know, like the silver hospital cover or, you know, things like that, it's not included. And I don't believe they get much funding in that either. I know we're not cheap, but we have.
Well, it's value
costs
for service as well.
Mm.
You know, like, you are providing a valuable service. So I get, well, my question is here, is there looks like there might be like a growing gap in between, you know, the participants and the services that they require. Are there any kind of, like, I guess, because I'm just thinking, like, from a psych perspective, like, when we know that people are on a wait list, for example, we might like recommend some resources for them to like work through. Like, is there an equivalent of for speech?
Yeah, we try and offer that. There are so many wait lists around, it's insane. And the common phone call I get is, how long is your wait list? And it is dependent on staffing, on discharge, on availability. And we try and help where we can with resources and recommendations. I try and refer families to other providers in the area as well. We'll see on Facebook or on speech pages that, you know, they have availability, but it's so hard to keep up with staffing. So yeah, we try and help with resources, with recommendations. I very commonly will say, play with your child, read them stories, you know, and give that advice in that phone call.
I'm just going to make an observational statement, or like an observation. I don't know why a statement was required in that. But I guess it seems like, and it's a common thing that I've been told whenever I speak to anyone around thriving kids, is I guess the fear, and maybe this is the same thing that's happening or you're seeing through your families or even on speech and psych, is that whilst, you know, you've got all these things happening with thriving kids and all these plans and so on, there's also nothing concrete in terms of what the actual care or support is going to be. So no one really knows. There's the idea, from my understanding, with thriving kids is to push it to a more community-based or sort of program and capacity building based thing, which is great in theory. But the concern that I have, and I don't know if it's been rectified yet, or if anyone does know if it's been rectified yet, is if, because I've heard two stories. I've heard one where, obviously, like you're talking about, where they're saying that if you have NDIS, you're going to stay. But I've also heard where, well, if you're in the age bracket, you're in thriving kids, you're moving to thriving kids. So my concern is, like, are we moving people in some of the most impressionable or vulnerable time of their life into a section that there is nothing that exists at the moment, and maybe that it just needs more time. I'm not saying that the idea is bad, that we need more time to develop those programs before we actually hit the trigger. I mean, it's a statement, but an observation. It's just something that I'm seeing as a common theme in terms of implementation of a particular strategy.
Yeah. Look, NDIS was new as well, and that had its teething issues, and now there's uncertainty with that. Now, I think thriving kids, we need to wait and see what's coming out. We know there's talking about not-for-profit agencies running it as well. Obviously, being a private practice, that is concerning for us. But again, I need to trust my relationships with the preschools, with the other avenues. And for me, being the business owner, I need to, grow the business and make it a place that people want to come and people want to work for. And we'll see what happens with thriving kids. I see quite a few families that are vulnerable. The parents have intellectual disabilities. A parenting program is not going to be the solution. And that is really concerning for me. Even NDIS review meetings, that is concerning with these families. You know, NDIS relies on advocacy, reports, evidence, and it's so frustrating for me seeing these families miss out sometimes because of it. And I'm also worried about that when it comes to thriving kids.
Do you both see challenges with, I'm going to call it NDIS literacy? Like with families.
I'm laughing at it because I'm like, yes, absolutely.
With families.
Oh no, I mean for everyone, like families, clinicians, like half the time, like, well, what exactly do you want from me when I'm writing these reports? I don't know if Tayla, you're feeling the same way.
Oh, 100%. And it's so different. I think, look, you know, whether they read it is a different story. And look, we all have different ways of doing it. And some just hit, and, you know, you'll see a participant get a plan and you're like, wow. And then another participant and you'll be like, oh no. And and
you're using the same like methods and, you know, methodology and writing, and you're like, well, what's the difference? Like, what can I do?
100%.
Yeah. Have you noticed any kind of like trend or anything that you're doing in your reports that like increases the odds of them getting funding at all?
No.
Oh, no.
What? No, look, I'm being honest here. But I have found, though, if a parent advocates and has basically upskilled themselves in the NDIS, I have seen that be successful. And that's concerning for me because then there's that barrier and I don't like it.
What do you mean by like upskill? Like, what exactly are they doing that kind of like makes that advocacy heard?
They're part of all those Facebook groups. They will reach out to different providers and really not push for a certain report, but know that maybe an FCA is required, or let's get a speech, an OT, a psych report. You know, they're able to do that, whereas some families find that really challenging. And that's, I guess, where support coordination comes in. Sometimes it's done really well, you just, or some people don't know.
Oh, it makes sense. I've completely forgot that kids don't usually come with support coordinators. Like because I work mostly in the adult space. So that makes a lot of sense that
Yes,
they really need to become their own like support coordinators, essentially.
they do. They really, really do. Or the support coordinators are like, well, we need to find the support. Tick. They've done their job, which it's really hard and really frustrating. But with a lot of the children I'm seeing, they're speech and OT. That's what's in the plan. And it might be for 40 weeks with no travel. So, yeah, you just...
See, I've been in the unique position for 7 years to see all sides. And I think the system isn't perfect at all. But I do see, I mean, look, firstly, support coordinators are capacity building support. People not necessarily be aware of that. We're supposed to work ourselves out of a job. That's the point. The point is to provide information and information to the decision maker who can then make their own call, essentially. So our job is to teach families to then be able to do it themselves. It doesn't always happen because I think in theory, because everything changes so quickly and rapidly and vastly, that you're then having to relearn anyway. But in regards to common trends, one thing that we have seen consistently is not just recommendations for recommendation's sake, but actual evidence. And when you talk about families upskilling themselves and knowing what reports and knowing, it 100% helps. And also the idea of data, like for example, you as a speechy, I said, okay, we're going to implement this. This is going to, this is supposed to have this, level of effect or whatever the case may be. And then you go off to the support worker or whoever, or the family even, depending on your situation, because sometimes, again, because of this idea of parental responsibility, which I did air quotes for anyone who can't see me because there is no video, so obviously you can't see me, right? So, but this idea of parental responsibility then comes in. So then sometimes you don't have support workers, but the actual evidence of, well, how many times have they tried that strategy? How many times does it work? How many times hasn't it? And whether or not the family can or can't track that data, because really, like, if they've got multiple children, like, how are they actually doing? So there's a lot of factors, and I'm not going to go down a rabbit hole of AI stuff that I've looked into, but it's true. A lot of the time that I find, and this is just from my perspective, where people aren't getting the funding that they need, I'm talking about cases that are quite obvious. It's because evidence and data haven't been able to be presented in a way that meets what the NDIS is actually looking for. At the end of the day, it's an insurance scheme, right or wrong. It operates that way. So, and then another really simple, small thing is formatting. I can't tell you enough how much formatting changes the world. I am such a stickler for it. You can ask Belle as well. It makes a major difference. Having things written in a way that makes sense, or putting the key information and highlighting risks and doing all these things, it changes the world. The last thing I'll say about this is because you're talking to people who want to help you. The NDIS planners want to help. Problem is, if you don't give it to them, they're reading thousands of reports currently the way things are structured. So, like, if you were reading thousands of reports, like, gosh, like, you would miss things, and like, that's where I think sometimes uncertainty comes through. And I mean, to throw it back to you guys, now we're talking about essentially the what's it called? The support needs assessment that's coming in, the ICANN tool being used, and more, structured, and we'll see if that works. Who knows? What are you guys, how are you guys both feeling about this support needs assessment?
Oh, Tayla, you go.
I'll go. Do you want to go?
Oh, I mean, like, it's an interesting one because, like, with these assessments, like, because I come from a research background, and it's a bit unusual to use one like test essentially for everybody. Like that's not usually how tests are designed. And also my biggest concern, and I don't know if this is still kind of, I don't know if they fixed this yet, but my biggest concern when I was looking at sort of like the media output was the way that they would be implementing this would be that there are no minimum qualifications for the people administering these tests. Like you do need to kind of have like a specific background to really interpret these tests. It's not just as easy as, you know, oh, well, the score says this. And I really hope that's not what they're doing, because a little bit of nuance is important, you know, depending on the time of day you do an assessment, you know, what's going on for that person. So those are my concerns. Taylor, I don't know if you want to add to that.
No, and it's the exact same pretty much. Is I know that they're going to do a training, I think that's a 2-day training program for it. That's what I've heard. But yeah, I do think there needs to be some qualifications with people delivering this assessment.
That would fall under speech, like these types of ICANN assessments, or is that more OT?
I believe it's more OT. So yeah, I don't really want to speak too much on it because it is more OT, but obviously communication comes into daily living, ability, capacity, functionality, all these words. So I do think a speech pathologist's opinion is still vital.
Oh, absolutely.
Is, you know, and yeah, someone sitting and ticking boxes and then looking, yeah, I think those nuances will be missed, and it is really concerning. And then how plans can be reviewed and that side of thing then is going to be really funky. Everything is uncertain, and that's riddling everyone. So
It's
yeah.
the reality of how it impacts is a little uncertain. To answer your question, Mary, as well, is they're hiring Allied Health to then train the unallied health, if that's not a word. Yep. Yeah, you should. But that from my understanding is that they're hiring allied health or occupational therapists and so on to be trained in this assessment to then pass on the training to people who will then administer. From my understanding, I could be wrong. And the concern that I share is exactly what you both were suggesting in terms of the nuances of answering questions. A small tidbit from us, for me as a support coordinator, is literally the fact that I work a lot, well, I have worked and now work with a lot of, and we specialize in more complex cases. So, you know, multiple diagnoses, challenging behaviors, you know, transitions, all of the above. What I've noticed is when you're trying to solve a problem, it is 1000% a multidisciplinary approach. The speech therapist will come in and say, hey, have you tried this communication approach? Support worker may say, hey, yes, but this. Then the BSP goes in, well, that's because of this. And then it becomes this neat, you know, web of ideas, and that eventuated a particular solution. They go, well, hang on a second, it's, you know, a combination of the two that needs to be put in place, or whatever. It could be anything, you know. So I have seen that. And then also on top of that, the risk management. So I don't know, for complex cases, I'm not quite sure how that ends up in reality. Maybe for more, I'm going to be very, you guys can shoot me down here because I don't know if this is even, because I'm not allied health, right? But the you know, let's just say a very simple, what's simple, but like a very clear cut, bang, bang, this is required sort of case, like I don't know, an amputee or something like that, where you just go, okay, well, this piece of technology could then, you know, be used here, and, you know, this is the type of thing that you need where it's a bit more structured. Maybe that works. I'm not sure. You know, maybe that's something that it can be benefit for. I do see some operational opportunities, like if I was the NDIS, meaning you're not having planners sitting in meetings as much, which means that you're getting plans out faster, which means that their focus is on changes of situations, and maybe they can move their workforce to more complex cases. Obviously, you know, for me, maybe that's the case. I don't know, but look, it's not all bad. It's just the implementation, coming down to the same thing, is it not? Implementation of and what it all looks like.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think it has blown out. The system is flawed and they have to do something. So yeah, operational, it makes sense. I guess we just need to see the delivery of it. And then, unfortunately, we need to wait and see, which I hate saying because that is not what we do.
No.
At all. So,
No.
yeah.
But do you see anything good from some of the stuff that you've heard? Maybe not necessarily specific to you. Have you seen any positive things that you go, oh, actually, I don't mind that. That's a change for the better.
I think the NDIS is great.
No. Yeah.
Yeah. And look,
We're not saying it's bad. Yeah.
No, we're not saying it's bad. And the changes and the uncertainty is concerning. And I think that's what everyone's worried about. I think, yeah, it is good overall. But I think we need to be channeling more into early intervention. And I think that will help overall. Obviously, this is the space I'm in, though. So I believe the NDIS is made up, tell me if I'm wrong, because you guys probably know this, is made up 52% of pediatrics or people under the age of 18.
I have to check.
I have no idea.
Okay,
So-
fact check me. But only budget-wise, pediatrics or people under 18 are only taking 20% of the budget.
Wow.
So really, if we work there first for these developmental delays, intellectual disability, autism, obviously people that are an amputee or things like that, it's very different. But, if we can work on early intervention, I think with NDIS, that will be really important and really beneficial. So,
because I see that I learned this was something I'm trying to remember from high school days, to be honest. It was one of those things where they talked about basic implementation of different policies that Australia's taken, right? And from memory, they were talking about the long-term effects of different things. So for example, I think they were talking about the impact on hospitals and the amount of people going. So then they, instead of obviously improving the speed at which they could cure something, let's just say a disease, they then went to the source. So it's essentially what we're talking about is, instead of saying, they started running ads for smoking kills, for example, which then reduced the amount of people that smoked, or put different in policies that then eventuated in a saving in 20, 30, 40 years, whatever the case may be, when that started flooding through. It's like a similar concept. I
think so.
Yeah, early intervention could potentially help that person be, increase their chances of independence later down the road. Therefore, we end up at a more sustainable scheme, and not in every case, obviously, but
No, exactly. Not in every case. That's what I'm passionate about. That's what I'm trying to push. And if Thriving Kids does that, happy days. But we'll see.
Do you have I'm gonna a little bit on the spot. Do you have a case? Because I know, look, obviously uncertainty is uncertainty. It does not mean that good is not happening, right?
Yeah,
it's just
100%.
I think you need to talk about things in order to make change. That's and also learn, because perhaps there's something better we can be doing. But do you have a like a good news situation or something that you've got that, like, yeah, sure, this is all happening, but I've been supporting someone and we've had some cool progress. Is there something?
Yeah, I think every day. We actually, Belinda does this at Steps of Strength, which we do once a month, and she'll sit at the table and go, okay, everyone go around a circle and say their one win for the week. And we discharge clients and it's the best thing ever. I had a child today who really struggled or found challenging the M sound, doing and I changed the app we were using and he was able to do it. So when he said mum, it wasn't tum, so that is really great to see. He'd say die instead of buy, and now we've got buy. So, it's little things like that. It's building rapport with children. I love what I do and it's so much fun and there are wins every day, and I think it's so important to focus on that. And if you are working to the children's strengths, you will see so much more improvement and that nurture. And it is really incredible the difference we are making. And yeah, it's cool to be in
Because
this
we
space.
focus so much on all the, all this media stuff, but really in reality, there's some amazing things happening that make some profound impacts to people now and into the future. Because communication, if you can't, like, I mean, I went on
Yeah.
a massive nerd run at some point in my life, focusing on language and communication. It doesn't matter how much you have in your mind, if the importance of communication and getting stuff out there is incredible. And some of the work that speechies do with kids to be able to do that, it's insane, not only for the individual, but the family, the people around them, the fact that they can interact with their world. So all of that stuff is still happening, and we're all trying to
and it's not going
find
to
our
stop.
place. No,
Yeah,
of
it's
course
not
not.
going to. No one will make me stop. Yeah.
Tayla will just find a place. She'll
Yeah.
just do it at 6 a.m. in Richmond on a walk, and she'll just drag along a bunch of people and be like, everyone's learning today, okay?
No, 100%. And yeah, it was freezing cold at 6:45.
I can imagine.
But it's great. And oh yeah, I love steps for strength. It's great. And
Would you have like a parting message for?
Before the
Oh,
parting
yep,
message, I
sorry.
just wanted to bring in a little
Fact
Googling.
check.
Yes. So it turns out, under 25s account for 56%.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Under 15s account for 43%, and under 9s account for 23%. So now this is a very curious, I didn't fact check the fact check. So
yeah. But look, that sort of goes to show though that in this space, that's a
quarter. A quarter of kids. That's a lot. That's a lot of kids on there. So
yeah, no, 100%, and it's gotta help.
But parting messages.
Parting messages. Look, I've said it how many times, early intervention is key, and helping children thrive is so important, and having fun is important as well. It doesn't have to be work. Children are learning through fun, and it may look like a therapy session is just a game or just play, but they are learning so much, and I think that will help overall. And seeing parents learning how to play as well, I think, and seeing them really thrive is really awesome to see. So I think, focusing on that is going to help not just the NDIS, but everything. So,
I couldn't agree more. I
Yeah.
love that. The fun part especially, because I mean, there's a lot of things happening, and I genuinely love going into people's houses and seeing the things that are happening with them, enjoying getting to know them, learning about them, and you have to enjoy it. You have to enjoy it. There's always going to be changes.
Yeah, 100%.
And if people want to get in contact with you, how, where, why?
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 So Elara Allied Health, Facebook, Instagram, eahealth.com.au is our website. If you want to join our waitlist, which we don't have too much of a waitlist, we have some capacity right now. So if you scroll down to the bottom of our website, or you can call me, which we'll put in the little blurb. And we are here on Lennox Street in Richmond. Feel free, if you see a car out the front, we'll be here and we'll open the door.
And your first Wednesday of every month,
yes.
Is that right?
First Wednesday of every month, I will be there. Belinda from Ability Connect will be there. Steps of Strength, we start at Valleyway Cafe or the Hawkesbury Information Centre. It's the same complex, and we walk up to the tennis courts and back. It's for NDIS providers, and we chat, share.
And you might get on a cool Instagram reel.
Yes, I do. Actually, I have it here. I have my camera. So I will put together a cool Instagram reel with some funny music. And I think it's just, again, it's fun, and it's important for all of us to be a community. It's not about competition. It is about community, and we're all in that same space. So
I couldn't agree more. But I mean, it's a massive thank you for coming on and meeting me for the first time while doing this. So I appreciate it.
Yes.
Look, I hope you enjoyed it, and for everyone that's listening, again, if there's a particular topic or someone you would like us to speak to, or a particular area, let us know. Until then, we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.